Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Rise Urban Nation. Your host Taryell Simmons. Today, I got a special guest in the building. Oh, look, and we gotta give a shout out to the person who got us here. Who got you here? Give a shout out to her.
Shout out to Nancy. That's my girl.
We was just chopping it. I was like, "Oh, Nancy, I was just acting the fool with her." And y'all was just on the line chopping it up before we got on. So shout out to Nancy. We got Bria in the house. Bria, I like to start off like this for people who have not had the pleasure of meeting you and knowing you. Who is Bria?
Who is Bria?
I know that's a deep question, but you could take that as far as wide as you want to go. Because I see she's like, "Who is Bria?" Like, I mean,
Like,
ooh,
man,
child.
like so lit. And I'm excited that I am lit. So Bria is a Black woman first. I always want to say that, and I'm a Black woman that grew up in the South and still live in the South, born and raised. And that really what molds my experiences and how I navigate the world. So just put that out there. That is Bria first and foremost. And she's a daughter and a sister. So just how also I navigate the life. But I'm an advocate for Black women across the nation and creating spaces for Black women to thrive. That's what I want to be known for. That's what I want to pop in people's mind when they hear my name. So I'm just going to say that here live right now. And that's what Bria is.
That's right. Put it out in the universe. I keep because we was chopping it up before we got on this. I keep learning more about you. I didn't know you was from the South. What y'all really know about that dirty South?
Yeah, I'm from Baton Rouge. Like
Baton Rouge. Okay. I got family in South Carolina. I once went down to Louisiana, Lake Charles area. When
yeah.
my one of my older friends had got me out there, and we got to really get it in Louisiana. I must say, there's certain parts of Lake Charles, Louisiana, I didn't know we still wasn't supposed to go to.
Yeah, I'm about to say, ooh, I don't know where you went in Lake Charles besides the casino. But no, the South is a lovely place. Yes, there's like your places not to go, but there's no other place that's as hospitable as
Right.
Louisiana. Like I love going home.
That southern hospitality. And another thing I learned in our pre little chop up is that me and you both did AmeriCorps. Tell the people about what AmeriCorps is and what this AmeriCorps experience that we both have had the pleasure of, and why do you like AmeriCorps?
Yeah, AmeriCorps. I'm like I should approach you. I might say love hate relationship. Because love what it stands for. I love the opportunity that AmeriCorps gives. So AmeriCorps is it's government funded program for students or just graduated students or people who looking to become students to work, I guess, mission trips or semesters and periods of times within nonprofit organizations or abroad organizations in different sectors. Like you can have, if your niche is climate justice, they have like programs specifically catered for that. I was a part of AmeriCorps Vista program where we worked with organizations within our community. So I was at Girls Empowerment Network, which was my first. I'm not going to say first. My very first AmeriCorps job was in Monroe, Louisiana, working in the mayor's office. And it's different when you're working in college because, your hours are like half. It's kind of you just showing up so you can show up. But once I shifted to the Vista, it was really my first full-time role within the nonprofit sector, within the world. And originally, that's what got me into fundraising. So I've always been like a community organizer, person, boots on the ground. So when I was applying for these Vista positions, I applied to be a community engagement Vista. So I like to work with the volunteers. Went into my interview went well, and they stopped and was like, I just think you should be a fundraiser. And I'm like, no, I do not want to be responsible for anybody's money nowhere. like I don't want to be responsible for people's salaries. And they're like, no, you're a student. Why would we do that? But we could definitely get you trained up just because you have the qualities and the strengths, and I think it's just a better fit. And then, going into the orgs, I see how they was trying to hire us, and it was exciting.
Mhm.
So I said yes to being a fundraiser, um, and enjoyed it. I realized
Right.
that, yeah, I'm about to say I'm not gonna be like, oh, I was great at it, but I was really strong at fundraising, and it was really a creative job and a job that you could be so innovative with. So I kind of
Mhm.
just took it and ran with it.
Yeah. When I was starting my nonprofit career, like that's what I went into too. And then I took some classes over at UCSD for fundraising development, and I thought that's what I was going to do. So that was how I dived into my career in the nonprofit space. Way before my as we talked about, my mentor talked me off the ledge, like, no, you can have a career in nonprofit because we like there's just that stigma in our community that like nonprofits, people don't make money, but they do make money. You're living proof of that. I'm living proof of that. Um, what do you say to that stigma? And then let's talk about the wonderful career that you've been able to create and kind of what you do.
Yes, I am really proud of my job. I get very lit opportunities within my work, and what really helps me grind to get these lit and impactful opportunities is the fact that I'm showing people like y'all can also do this. Like, come
Hmm.
do this too. Like, it's not like I'm not some special being. I have no extra set of tools. I just knew what career path, what I knew I wanted to choose a career path that I knew I could make my own.
Yeah.
And the nonprofit sector is something that you could really do that. Like this, the possibilities are really endless on how you can impact your community. So just
Hmm.
being able to find a career where you can add your own creativity into it in your own way of creating that impact
Yeah.
is what I'm trying to explain to my friends of like, you can still have your love. My favorite line sister, best friend, is a chiropractor, and we talk about it all the time. She's like, it's crazy. I went through all of this school, getting my PhD, but I love what you do. Like if I would have known way back when growing up that this was a career path, I wouldn't have been stuck on like, let's become a doctor. And I'm like, but it can still be
Mm.
your path. Like there's still
Yeah.
nonprofits that can benefit from research from chiropractic, from the studies of chiropractic. Um, it's just figuring out how to bring what you really want to bring into the
Mhm.
world into your community.
Yeah, that's so true. I love what you said there. Bringing what you bring to the world into your community, which is something that you've been doing and something that you've been done. Now, start your own nonprofit. So you gotta tell the people about your nonprofit, the work you're doing, what you launching,
Hmm.
all that good stuff. Since you helping young women thrive. I love that word too, thrive. Like because Black women, uh, too long we've been trying to survive in this world. I love to hear us talk about thriving.
Yeah,
I'm
we're
still trying to wrap my
thriving. We're
mind around
elevating.
what that looks like. Like, oh, thrive? Like that's a whole nother level. That's thrive? Yeah, okay. All right. So unpack that for me.
Yes. So, Ambassadors of Change is a 501c3 that's geared to build self efficacy in Black and Brown women through our leadership development, healing practices from the trauma that Black women face, seeking career escalation in the United States, um, and then using that research to impact organizing and create policy change. So,
Mm,
Ambassador of Change is reaching its 10th year. Yay. That's why we got the Legacy Tea. Shout out to us. Woo, woo, woo. Um, and it was founded by Patrice Harrison. And I
mm,
was so humbled to come take over the last 2 years to really bring AOC's restructuring to fruition. It's a really exciting time for us as we are bringing on new team members. Like we shouted out Nancy coming onto the team to help us or really bring out those operation arms and those HR arms in development to make us sustainable and really stable within. our foundation season. So right
Mm,
now we have a in-school program. We're in Houston, Texas schools, hosting Elevated Outcomes, which is a curriculum-based program that helps our girls build self-efficacy. And self-efficacy is a girl's belief in their ability to do something. So it's something that they already have in them. It's just like telling them like you can do this. You
mhm,
are. It's just letting them know that you already have this within you. We're
mm,
just here to bring it out of you.
mhm,
And we want to also host healing circles with inside the schools. Like we mentioned, black females and girls are 60% more likely to commit suicide. And that's for,
mm,
yes, for students 9th through 12th. And
yeah,
that's alarming. And
yeah,
schools obviously are not a safe zone for us. And then top of that, with everything that's going on outside of schools and the climate of the world and the nation, it's a lot. Like it's hard. I'm an
mhm,
adult and it's hard navigating the world as a black woman going outside. Like I don't know what's going to happen today. I don't know how people feel about me. And then top of that, we're trying to build a career or finish school. You need a safe space to like unpack. Like it's just hard being a black woman right here right now.
mhm,
How do I navigate this from people who are actively navigating it?
mm. Man, so much to unpack there. I'm thinking about this because I'm a girl dad, um,
Oh,
and
girl,
like that, and
the stats
COVID
are
time
sad.
was
Yeah.
that COVID time was tough, man, because George Floyd. Then I saw
Mhm.
some black women on the front line. She saw some black women on the front line, being treated less than, and I started to um understand more of my privilege as a black man in 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 comparison to a black woman, especially in
Mhm.
the aspects of career, right?
Mhm.
And I started speaking to some of my black women, and that I knew for some time, but it just became more apparent to me now because I'm a girl dad. I was like, all right, you know what? I haven't really been there to speak up for you, sis, and I need to do better. I'm sorry. I
Mhm.
apologize. Like, let me know where I need to show up and show out for you because I started to realize, oh man, this is a serious issue, right? And I even talked to some black women who were in more higher positions than I am, like CEOs, and
Mhm.
done some different sessions around San Diego where I hear women say and talk about imposter syndrome. These are women in powerful places. Imposter syndrome and the stress and mental health around that because of the things that they endure.
Mhm.
So if it's difficult for these powerful adult black women, I can only imagine what it's like for young people. In your
It-
mind, how do we do better with that? Like, I'm still struggling to find all the answers, but like, and I know there's not one solution that fits all, but you know, how do we start to move the needle a little bit, just a little bit on this and have more awareness and education around this?
Yeah, the fundraiser me wants to say you commit and donate to organizations in your community that are trying to combat this, um, because it really does start with philanthropy and giving to these organizations who are catering to our people in this way of you can always provide like services and goods, but if we're not getting to like the root, or if someone's not sitting down with our youth to be like, you've been through something, let's talk about it, let's give you a chance to express it,
Hmm.
and let's give you the tools to heal from it, then the cycle will just continue.
Mm,
um and really long term is we will be able to create the policy changes
hmm.
um, within our prospective communities to create the space for black women to really thrive. Like right now Texas is hot ledge session,
Oh
I don't know
man,
if
don't get me
yeah.
started on Texas.
But just like the direct attack on like our rights, obviously pays an effect on our mental health. Like anything that detrimental, that where we can't proceed with health care decisions that we want, really causes a strain. And I don't think people realize that connection, or even just the whole idea of like you really don't have control over your body, and navigating
Mm,
life, as every decision I make has to be precise because I don't have control over my body. I don't know what my government's going to say next. And being able to produce like the evidence to like tell policymakers like y'all are wrong. Like we need these
mhm.
to better humanity for women.
Yeah. No, one thing they did in San Diego a little bit after George Floyd, they declared racism as a public health crisis. And then I remember
Mhm.
being at an event where they was talking about birth deficiency rates for Black women versus other women, and the crazy difference between just that. All like all these other women get this ideal health care and treatment, and being in that session and learning that like all these Black women get a different form of treatment, and then unpacking that more like, oh, it's because Black women have a higher pain threshold. Like, wait, no, they don't.
Exactly. Like one of the most alarming stories that really made me want to, that was just like eye opening to me, was that girls at the age as early as the age of 5 believe that being brilliant is a male trait. So they don't think that women could become brilliant. And I'm just like, we're stunted
Wow.
so early. Like I'm at a 5-year old, like, and I'm like, just imagine the girls or the women that we don't intervene with, who never hear like, no, we can excel past any men's brilliance. See, it's never unlocked for them. It's never seen for them. It's not, they don't have that relatable role model to model this type of life for them. And that's really like what we're trying to step in and intervene with. But
At
yeah,
5 though? 5?
5 year olds. I know that's so. I'm like, it still makes me like so wider because it's so sad. Like it's such a young age to feel like you're lesser than your male counterparts. Um, but that is like what girls start struggling with really early on. So people are like, oh no, they're a baby. No, like they start realizing this. And also goes to show how like how society is, because like how we're navigating worlds where they already see this and see the misogyny so young, where men are brilliant.
Yeah. I see the irony in that too, because I've started to pick up on it more, and I'm trying to be better at that as well myself. Like, because you see how like little boys when they make mistakes, they're told to be confident, be this that, and then they make a mistake and they're okay. Like they're allowed to make the mistake, and even in adulthood, the same thing. Like
Hmm.
a male in a leadership role can make a mistake, right? And it's okay, and and they move forward. But a woman in a leadership power, she makes a mistake. Well, first of all, she better not make a mistake, right?
Right.
And they gonna fact check her, double check her, triple check her before the thing even goes forward. And then if there's a mistake, she gonna get all the heat, and she's not only she don't get a chance to recover from that mistake. And the same thing that, and then and it's in the same way with our little boys and little girls, the same way. That's how the same behavior is that parallels over to the adult years as well. And so I think it's causing this unequal balance in, I don't know how to explain it. It's just an unequal balance of how we treat males versus men versus
Yeah,
women.
hierarchy. Yeah, it is. It is, and it's like it's hard when you come to people and be like, "Yeah, I only focus on women," because they're like, "Ah, what about the boys?" And I love Black men, married Black men, but I really feel that girls need a a cater to support, and then it's also like you work in your expertise. Like I'm working from my experience, where all our staff is 100% Black women.
Hmm.
Um, so we're all working from our own experiences navigating um, this world. And we also feel that we create that environment, and we also are living in the roles that we want them to be. So it's our staff being who it is really caters to our demographic of like who we want to serve, and then also like Bria said this, but I mean AOC says it too. Black women are the most marginalized group of women. I mean group of people in the
Oh, I
world.
believe it.
Yeah. So I just I want to say my people.
Nah, I want to say I want to help my people build a better foundation so my little girl ain't got to struggle. So like I mean, I know y'all all women and so forth, but like I'm a girl dad. I don't want to mess up what y'all doing, but I want to support. I want to be in the movement and play my background role, my tambourine, whatever you need me to do. How like I mean, how do I fit into the scenario of supporting, like when it comes to not just writing a check but being active. I want to be actively black and supportive
That would be
of my black women. Like,
I'm about to say, I feel like there's a lot of different ways. Like I said, we're restructuring. So right now we really just have our in school program, which is closed off to like our girl groups and our facilitators. But one of the biggest ways can see men being involved is getting involved with our Miss Black International Ambassador pageant system. I know it sounds kind of
mhm,
backwards because of the pageant, but there's so many events and so many opportunities and speaking engagements and panel discussions and workshops that are integrated into our pageant competition for our contestants and the communities that they live in. I think that would be the best way to get active on like the local level is meeting
mm,
with like your local queen and seeing what events they have going on. Our queens all have to compete in, they all have to present a platform to
mhm,
their interview with a presentation, whole thing of everything that they've been working on their reign. And those are all campaigns and advocacy issues that is impacting their states that they are representing.
mm. Now, I like that, and don't worry if y'all driving. I'm gonna make sure I get show notes from her so I can put it in the links and put it in the show notes so that you can get to that too. Um, and this is my ADD. Forgive me for a second. Another thing I was
No,
just thinking about that popped into my head was like, you know what? This is probably why so many educated black women are leaving the workforce in droves. Because I saw some data not too long ago talk about like how black women are in America is one of the most educated group of women. They out educate all the group of women. Like black women is up there out of Asian women, white women, Latino women. They are the most educated. Y'all been getting degrees like crazy, and
yeah.
there's another data study that's saying that a lot of them are becoming entrepreneurs or nonprofit leaders, right?
Mhm.
And does this like trying to survive corporate America? Does that have anything to attribute to that? And then, I mean, what's your thoughts? I, I would say yeah, but I want to hear your thoughts on this when you hear
Yeah,
data and stats like that.
I'm gonna say I'm like, no, it's not because of that. I'm like, but my answer really is that. I never thought that, I take that back. I'm gonna say I didn't think I was gonna be an entrepreneur, but my life was trending that way from a very young age. So I don't know why I didn't think that. But I think why Black women decide to choose to be entrepreneurs is because navigating one, the ladder climb is exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm gonna work that hard, I'm gonna go
Mm-hmm.
work for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's really it, period. Like it's I
Like
mean,
if I'm gonna work that, how I'm gonna work on myself. Now I'm not gonna pour it all into you.
yeah, I mean, like don't get me wrong, there's organizations that I love and like will like um outside of like running AOC, I also am the co-executive director of Youth Rise Texas, Austin-based nonprofit. Love Youth Rise, love the mission. It's a little bit more niche. We work with youth who are experiencing parental removal from incarceration, deportation, and immigration.
Ooh, okay.
So Yeah, I must say, dope work. We do that through healing justice and youth organizing work.
Hmm.
Love it. Can do it forever. Will I do it forever? No, because we want to be youth led, so I won't be the youth forever. But whenever I get older, I really want to. I believe in the mission so much. I really want to pour and give my all while I'm here and
Yeah.
in youth, so that they can continue to operate in their vision.
Right. Now you said you never thought you'd be entrepreneurial. Like, unpack that for me. Why didn't you think so? I feel like ever since I've been
It
talking to
was
you, even before, like, you seem like you got that spirit in you. So I was like, why?
I
Why she
did
don't
have
think
the
she?
spirit. The spirit was there, but I was like, no, I'm about to find me like a nonprofit and I'm gonna climb that ladder and be ED forever. And that is gonna be it. I thought I was gonna be like the old lady with the cats that just found a nonprofit. But no, I mean, technically, yes, I am an entrepreneur. Technically, Ambassador Change was like inherited and passed down. So I'm not the
Right.
founder. So it still feels like I found my
But you
nonprofit.
work it like it's yours. So I
I
don't
do
know.
work
That's
it
what
like it's
entrepreneurs
mine. Like
do.
this is my baby though. Like I really, really, really do. Um, and because you're so attached. And that's why I really have so much gratitude and love for Patrice, our founder, because it takes a lot of trust. And I think that's a good part of leaving corporate is that
Hmm.
transition. Nonprofit sector has the messiest transitions. If you didn't know it,
Hmm.
they just all of them. Mm. So just
Yeah.
transitioning from leadership, one is hard because she's the founder. This is something that she's like dreamt and bled money into and brought her family into for years. And then yes, it was time to let go. Yes, she's relieved to let go. Like yes, like youth leadership, but it's still something that you've been working on for a long time. Like it's hard
Hmm.
to disconnect. And really put all your trust in the trust of like your child essentially into other
Hmm.
hands. So it's been interesting, like one navigating that, and I also
Hmm.
think that goes into what makes it difficult to like navigate the corporate world is
Yeah.
awkward transitions and then escalating as a leader altogether. I must
Hmm.
say, and then I must say, me being an entrepreneur, I don't know. I'm Maybe I started my own. I called myself. I keep saying it, but we had no paperwork. But I started.
You one of those b- back with Louisiana entrepreneurs. We ain't starting no paper, but we got it popping.
I brought a receipt book from Fred's and called it a day. Like, what do you mean? That's all the paperwork you need. Is that you got proof that you gave me money? And my mom would be so proud telling the story because it was just me and my mama. I was 16 and I called myself being like, I'm gonna put on pageants for the girls in the community. Um,
Right.
so I had my little serving job. I was working at Journeys as well
Mhm.
and was really putting on pageants. Had to beg the mayor to like use their facility
Mhm.
and that was me being an entrepreneur. But I wanted it to be more than a pageant, which is like our hashtag. It's way down here in the shirt. I always wanted it to be more than a pageant, so we started holding workshops and one-on-one mentoring.
Uh-huh.
So being able to grow up and then finally have Patrice have Miss Black International Ambassador as a pageant system
Right.
was so exciting because it was exactly what I wanted. Like I wanted a pageant
Nice.
system that saw me as more than just a contestant. Um it's like a whole person as a black woman. And then, you know, I could get on my soapbox behind creating space for black women in pageantry all day. But we really, really needed that, especially back in, let's see, 10 years ago, the 2010s.
Mhm.
Pageantry was a whole different game and like seeing black faces was not was was not happening. I'm
Yeah.
excited now that we have like these records and like these first time happening where all the queens are black. But for the girlies that like grew up where we didn't get to see this, we had different experiences competing. So these
Mhm.
black systems mean a lot to us and mean a lot
Mhm.
to our overall growth of just creating a space for black women in pageants.
Nice, nice, nice. All right. Speaking of, because you was talking about taking care. that baby and taking care of the baby like it's yours and so forth. And that made me think about family. Um
Mhm.
and when you think about family, I'm curious to know who in your family has contributed to the woman that you are today.
Oh my gosh. Um, I'm gonna say my parents.
Hmm.
Blessed and honored to come from two-parent household. My parents love talking about them, and they don't like to
Hmm.
believe it. So I'm happy this is recorded because now it's proof that I always talk about them. But my yeah, I think they're so cool, and they're like, you don't think that? I'm like, I really genuinely do. Um, my father's from Chicago and my mother's from Detroit, and they met at Southern University, um, and fell in love and decided to stay and got married and
Hmm.
had me. And my brothers, I forget
Hmm.
them too. um, them too. But me, only girl and firstborn, so it was pretty lit for me growing up. And my it was interesting growing up because my parents are from up north and obviously we're in the south, so we were always a little different or just didn't quite fit in with our community because of that.
Hmm.
um and also just like because of how we present ourselves. But my parents were so like, so like we are true in who we are, it don't even matter. And that is how me and my brothers grew up. Like, nope, we're true in who we are, it doesn't even matter. Like, I'm my own person. And
Hmm.
they really instilled like this real strong sense of being independent. And the biggest lesson that my mom was like, whatever job you get, make sure you like it because you're gonna do it forever. So like do what you love. Like, I know your
Hmm.
daddy wants you to be whatever you want, like be a pharmacist, be a doctor because money, but no, please do whatever you want. Um and I was like, okay. And my dad was more so like, you could dream as big as you want. So the combination of do what you want and dream as big as you can created
You know,
created this monster.
look, I'm glad that you said that because I always tell my young people, you heard it here. I didn't pay to say this. I always tell people, my young people, when I go out in schools and I do my speaking, I was like, do what you love and love what you do. Do what you love and love what you do. Don't chase the money. Let the money chase you.
Okay, we not chasing the bag. It comes naturally. I
Yeah,
promise.
especially when you
For us
do
to
what you
get
love.
there, it will come to
They will chase you down with the bag.
mhm. Yes.
um, you know what? This makes sense now. This is the reason why I know you was Mr. Do pageants and doing what you're doing because your daddy, Chicago, Chi-Town, Stepper, Detroit, they both of them they like to step out, especially in their era. They stepped out to they was
Yes.
decked up from the toe up to the flow up.
Exactly. I must yeah, my husband, he's a Georgia boy. And it's so funny because he's so casual and he's like, I don't understand this. He's like, why are y'all all dressed to be in the house? And I'm just like, it's just like putting clothes on. Just it's the leisure clothes. Leisure clothes exist up north.
They just won't know they not about that life. There's a
Yeah,
whole different. It's
it's
a
just
whole different vibe.
it's
It's
a
just
different
different.
vibe. I'm gonna say love. I love both cities. Spent most time in Chicago, but both cities
Right.
are lovely. And then love that my parents created this atmosphere. They're
Right.
really fun. They're very encouraging
Uh,
parents, and they also love the arts and encourage the arts within us.
yeah.
Um, and yeah, so they really are big on like us expressing ourselves, um, and being like committed to our passions. So
Hmm.
I'm so grateful to my parents,
Nice.
and they were out there washing cars with me, trying to help pay for pageants. So they
Oh.
they're down for life.
So like I mean, because you've overcome a lot of obstacles, and I'm 100% sure like everybody wasn't always on board with this pageant thing and the different businesses you had. So, like, how do you overcome thoughts of people who not not on the same page as you, or not really rocking with you like that? How do you start to overcome those thoughts of those people? Like,
Let me think. Because I'm thinking about the team right now, and what I love, what I love about it is like I'm a big dreamer, but
mhm,
they, I mean, they're on the moon. Like they dream ginormous, and I'm like,
mhm.
okay, cool. And now I've realized, and it's funny you seeing the shift from like my mom being the one like, let's be realistic, to me being okay, but like, what do we really want to do, guys? On the TV. And I think that's because I became a fundraiser, and now I see those budgets, and I'm like, ooh, you're right. Like, I want Beyonce too, guys, but I don't know. Um, but I think it's more so like just having synergy within the team.
Mhm,
I'm really great at strategic planning. So one of the biggest steps that AOC and NBIA needed was to like have an all staff retreat, and we really map
mhm,
out our dreams for the next 5 years and our realities for the next 5 years, and
mhm,
what can we make possible, and me most importantly, like what can we make financially possible, so we can
mhm.
really lock in these dates to set us up for beyond.
Yeah.
Um, and also when it came down to like selecting the team in this restructuring phase of the organization, it was
Mhm,
really important to make sure that everybody knows that we're in a restructuring phase of the organization. Like we're letting you know,
mm,
like, hey, everything is taken with grace right now. Um, and we have a vision, but we know that we need to operate the way that we're about to operate. Like we know we need to lay back. We know like all everything's not going to be perfect until we become stable and sustainable for the next couple years. And it's just like
yeah.
having everybody in that same mind space from the get go. Like January 1, it was like, okay, this is the state of the org. This is how we're
Mhm.
operating. This is how you're about to tell people this is the state of the org. And we're moving forward from such. Either you rocking with it or you're not rocking with it.
Nah, and that's a beautiful thing. One, communication, and then just have the overall synergy of everybody, moving in the same unison, to the same heartbeat, to the same tune of the drum, so that you can reach the goals and get where you really want to be. And so it's so important to surround yourself with the right people. Um, I'm gonna pivot a little bit here. This is the section where
Okay.
I talk about the journey. I'm gonna talk about the journey,
Which journey?
and
Okay.
the because a lot of young people, they're gonna get inspired by your story and be like, oh yo, I'm about to get into this fundraising development. I saw Bria talk about it, like I'm gonna start this nonprofit, I'm gonna dream big, da 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 da. But like it wasn't always like that. We always know this humble
Hmm.
beginnings, and you guys. So I always like to ask people, what was your first job?
Very, very like day one,
Day
first job.
one. Give me your first day one job.
Technically, it was Aeropostale folding t-shirts. Um,
Aeropostale folded t-shirts.
yeah,
I
you have to have it like paper
you know
thin, like crisp.
I can see you being an Aeropostale girl. You got the hair full. You got the look. You got the look.
Mine, I came to Aeropostale fully dressed up with a resume printed out. I was like, I want to apply here. I know I'm underage, but I think I can work here.
Oh, you next
I
level
thought I
with
was
it.
hot shit. They hired me. Though. I was like, I just knew it. Um, but yeah,
Look,
Aeropostale was the very, very first job. But
shout out
I
to
have a
Aeropostale. Thank you for giving our sis a chance. If your
thank
director, executive, whoever, y'all need to cut a check, write a check.
the smallest. Yeah, what's funny there though, the world is so small. The woman who hired me, she actually became my profile. Like
What?
exactly. Like this is I'm
That's
like I'm in high school at the time, so like years later, and I was like, that's crazy. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Man, how the world works. Okay,
I don't know.
I got it
It
now.
was so full circle. It was so funny.
They So now, like now that people are inspired, they see the first job story, they heard a little bit of backstory, passion of what you do. When you think about it, what are the steps do you think that was important to help you get to where you at right now in your career and to build what you've built in nonprofit and business?
Important steps. Being active in the community. Like I'm
Hmm.
a big component of joining any organization, like join something where
Hmm.
people where you live congregate or make decisions. Like I was organized through the NAACP
Hmm.
in 2016 with the death of Alton Sterling in Baton
Hmm.
Rouge, Louisiana. So
Hmm.
after after being mobilized in that way, it kind of just shifted me to always have that top of mind of like community. How do we make this better?
Hmm.
Um, so you can't make change or you can't like expand if you don't know the people that's in the people that are around you. Um, so getting organized in that way. This is really nerdy, but keeping up with CRMs like Asana,
What?
it's a
CRM?
lot of stuff out there, but you really have to keep hip.
Okay.
That's what pushed me ahead of the curve. Is that I I've never been like dissonant to like trying to learn a new software or a
Hmm.
CRM. So just like being open to those and just like being savvy, listen to some YouTubes on them. You don't have to like go in depth, but try
That
to learn them.
that so
Um,
have an overall knowledge. All right, got you.
yes, and then being creative. Like I mentioned, my parents were big on the arts, and we're all artists in the family. So
Hmm.
my work, I get to integrate so much creativity and so much art and so much graphic design in it when fundraising that it makes it fun, low key. So like instead of just
Hmm.
sending like the funder something a boring like this is the history of the organization, I was able to create like an interactive world where they get to see a character like walk through this story. So being able to like do add like your personality into your work can go a long way because I mean it's
Yeah,
your work.
yeah, yeah. I like that. I like that. What's one good lesson life has taught you?
A lesson that life has taught me. There's just so many.
Pick one.
I know. I'm like, which one where I don't go on like a soapbox? Our sounds too
Uh,
like cliche because like I learned a lot of lessons with COVID. Because I like a plan. Like I know what I'm gonna be doing for the next 5 years. Like I know
what?
I see it clearly. Um, but just being so stuck in those ways and then something like a global pandemic shifting that was a lot for me, a lot mentally, a lot like emotionally taxing
Mm,
because I just felt I set myself to these deadlines. There it is, that's the lesson. Like deadlines are not real. Deadlines that you set for yourself
mm,
are not real, but like remove them, guys. I mean, pay
mm,
your bills on time, but those deadlines are not tangible things. Um,
mm,
and you will always, I'm not gonna say you always have time, but there is time. Like everything is not gonna happen immediately.
mm,
And I think a part of like being an entrepreneur or leading an organization is you want to get to that finish line so badly because like I see my staff all getting like this salary, like I see it, I can taste it, I know it's there. Um, but it's still so much building in between that and you want to rush that journey and there's no need, you have to go through the whole journey.
yeah, yeah, and that's why I always tell people I'm in love with the journey because that's what's going to catapult you to the next steps. My old friend, who's a pastor, he's like, yeah, you want to make God laugh? Tell him your plans.
Right, like oh I was just like no.
It was like, oh, that's your plan. All right, cool.
Yeah, I'm like, it's laid out. It's been the same plan since I was like 14. What do you mean?
It's like,
Global
yeah, cool,
pandemic.
cool.
What do you mean?
Um, what's some advice you would give to someone who is looking to start a career in your industry?
Whew. Advice: learn to fundraise. Don't stray away from it. Um,
Mm.
I always do
Why
that. Like,
fundraising though?
I mean, you always have to learn how to fundraise
Mm,
to get to the bag. And it's not like the whole necessary like applying for grants or no fundraising just makes you one a great networker, and it connects you
mm,
to so many people. And honestly, like, who does not want to be connected to money? Like, you get
mm,
into the fundraising, even if it's just like joining. They have like young professional groups or like coffee hours with people in
mm,
philanthropy, just getting to know the landscape of the field, or understanding like how money is moving in the field, and
mm,
what orgs are giving to what is a good first step, because you kind of just like lays out that landscape.
mm.
um and then the question was like, what else, sorry.
The question was, um, what is some advice you would give to somebody who would like to start a career in your industry?
Oh yeah. Oh, learning to fundraise. Oh, and
Learn to fundraise. Okay.
mhm.
Go ahead. You got another one?
I was about to say,
Look like you're
and
thinking
trust
about it.
the
Like,
youth.
like, what am I?
Always trust the youth. Not always trust the youth, but trust the youth. Believe in youth led
Look.
organizations. So believe in BIPOC organizations.
All right. I like that. Um, what do you think the future has in store for the industry that you're in? When you think about pageants, nonprofit, especially for Black women, what does the future look
Yeah.
like? Tell me what the future look like, sis.
Um. So for us as Black women, especially in Black women in pageantry, we really plan to take over this industry.
Mm,
Because I mean, if you think about it, we already technically should have hair in the bag. Like, we should take over hair, and it's just part of the pageantry is part of the beauty industry as well. And I don't think people understand how
mm-hmm,
it's integrated. And I really believe that Miss Black International Ambassador can be on the same level as Miss USA and have the same like accolades as Miss USA's and Miss America's. We want spaces for like Black women to have careers in pageantry. Like Miss USA's CEO makes six figures, well over it. There's no reason that Black pageants should not be able to like pay their CEOs that too. We should not be able to have like, we should be able to have those same brand endorsements. We should be able to have like streaming on major networks. I'm just looking for that type of like hype, backing, support from the Black
mm-hmm.
community in Black pageantry. Um,
Yeah.
that's what I see for
Steve
us. I see
Harvey. I'm
we
gonna
want to.
need you to I need you to host a pageant, Steve Harvey, and get your money people over here. Steve Harvey, come on.
I'm just like, why y'all never want to come be with the Black pageants? Like, like, we're right here. Um, and once people start recognizing like we're here and hot and popping, and start loving on their own people, it'll be a great space. But that's really what I see for Black pageantry. I see one of my queens running for office or running for Senate.
Mm,
Um, and that would be a safe place. And I, more importantly, I see like our curriculum reaching girls globally,
man.
and creating spaces for them to heal. So if I can have a world of healing and a president with a crown on her head, I'm lit. I'm lit.
That's dope. I can see that. I want to put that on a t-shirt, that whole vision. um yeah, I'm still sitting on that. I'm on cloud nine with that one. That's dope. All right. Let's end off like this because I don't do the Joe Rogan type of podcast. What
Okay.
projects are you currently working on and where can people find you?
Projects that I'm currently working on is obviously the restructuring of Ambassadors of Change. It's our 10th anniversary, so our annual pageant is hosted in Atlanta, Georgia, October 11th through the 15th. So tickets are rolling out soon, and we're also hosting a event in spring of 2024 in Houston, Texas, which is a summit for our girls and women, honoring for phenomenal women this year who are our ambassadors of the year. So those are events that are coming up down the pipeline. You can follow me at Bria Virgil on Instagram, and then the pageant, MBIA pageant, and AOC at AOC Inc. on Instagram.
Nice. And if you're driving, don't swerve and try to type this down. Don't worry, I'm gonna get all the links from her. I'm putting it in the show notes so you can just easily click on the link below of this podcast and go support, go show up, roll up, do whatever you need to do. Let's make this Black girl magic happen. I want to see it all over the place. Steve Harvey,
Buy
I
a
want to see you on.
shirt.
Say it again.
Buy a shirt.
Buy a shirt. Okay, is that the one you're wearing right now?
We
The
have a
legacy
lot of
shirt.
different designs. So please go out. We got a whole 10th anniversary
Okay.
gear line that dropped.
I need to get me my shirt now. I'm
Yeah.
gonna give me my shirt. Next episode, y'all gonna see me rocking some legacy shirts or whatever they got in there. So Bria, this has been amazing. I love this whole convo and everything we're doing. I can't wait for my daughter to grow up and watch this.
Yay.
Because it's just amazing. Like I appreciate the work that you're doing. I'm gonna give you your
Thank
flowers
you.
now while you here to receive them.
Thank you.
The work you're doing is important. It's necessary. I want to see Black women thrive. I
Period.
like forget surviving. I want to see y'all thrive. Like y'all deserve. Y'all put this country, the on your back for too long, too long. Like
Okay.
even out of the space, like the young, like I told somebody, like when we had the pandemic and then we had the election and then Amanda, um, what's the girl name that did the poem? Amanda. Why am
Oh,
I'm
I
blanking on her
know. I
name?
know. I see her face. I see the whole outfit.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I was like, man, this country was all messed up. This black woman, this queen, black queen came, gave a poem to help
Gorman.
us settle down. There you go,
Hmm.
and give us some context to give us back on track. And that's what Black women are to this country. Y'all literally magic. I appreciate you.
Thank
We
you.
salute you. We thank you, Queen. Any last words of wisdom before we sign off today?
No, I appreciate the flowers. Really words of wisdom is just like appreciate a black woman every single day. Um, and that's all. Like, thank you so much for giving us space to like tell our story. Thank you so much for like listening to black women. So I appreciate this time here.
Thank you. And y'all better make sure y'all show up and show out. Don't let me drop this episode and y'all ain't got no clicks on here. This is your host, Taryell Simmons, on for another episode, and we'll catch you on the next time.